Welcome to Have Understanding. This is a YouTube video study series to help those seeking for understanding to know the things that are written in the Bible. Today we're coming to you with another interesting presentation titled The One to Save the World. Today, when you look at the earth and the world around us, it is in a miserable state. And that is because the earth is given into the hands of the wicked one who has been destroying and trampling the earth down. For a long time, the world has been handed to this wicked one, and he is causing a lot of havoc upon the earth. The question then is, can the world be redeemed? Is there hope for our planet Earth? We shall see. Follow along as we go through this video discussion. The one to save the world. At John chapter 4 verse 42, the Samaritans in Jesus' time, Yahushua's time, acknowledged that this man is the one to save the world. And that is after listening to Yahushua's teaching for 2 days. But who are the Samaritans? And why does the world need saving? And how can the world be saved? Who are the Samaritans? You need to read 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 5 to 10, verse 18 to 34, to understand who the Samaritans are. But briefly, the northern kingdom of Israel was removed from the land they inherited. And other people were brought in to occupy the land in their absence. Included are the Samaritans, who were also uprooted from their own land. And this resulted in an animosity between the southern kingdom of Israel, that is Judea, and the foreign occupiers of the north. Northern Israel was displaced because they acted corruptly towards their God. At Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 5 to 8, the Most High God gave to each nation their territorial land location as an inheritance to dwell in. But nations and peoples left their domain due to greed and domination of others. It then became survival of the fittest, or to the strongest. The stronger takes whatever they want and whatever he wants, even if it did not belong to him. The descendants of the Samaritans were still occupying the northern kingdom when the Messiah came. So why the world need to be saved? The world has been in chaos since then up till today. The stronger people dominate the weak. The rich people exploit the poor. At Matthew chapter 11, verse 12, Yahushua explained that the kingdom territory of God was given, that God gave to Israel, was taken over by violent men and other people and nations. The chosen people of Israel were to serve as the true gods. The chosen people of Israel are to serve the true God and ensure that His will and laws are executed on earth. But they became disloyal and rebellious to their God. The true God therefore brought punishment on all Israel and left them to bear punishment time until it ends. He scattered Israel among the nations and returned back to heaven. So how can the world be saved then? At John chapter 4 verse 45, the Samaritans have heard that someone will come or rise up from Judah and will correct all the wrongs done to mistreated people of the earth. After listening to Yahushua for 2 days, they acknowledge that he is the one to save the world. But what message did they hear from Yahushua, that convinced them of that? And let's examine the Messiah's declarations. At John chapter 4, verse 20 to 22, the Messiah declared that before the world is to be saved, the true chosen people of God, Judeans and all Israel, has to be saved and restored first. At Acts chapter 1, verse 6 to 7, the disciple asked Yahushua, when will the kingdom be restored to the chosen people of Israel so they can serve the will of their God? At Acts chapter 7, verse 1, chapter 1, verse 7, the Messiah answered, it was not granted to the first century disciples to know when the kingdom territory where God dwells will be restored to Israel. Since the kingdom will become as a dragnet, attracting all kinds of people and nations who will come and take over possession of the territory. But at the end, there will be a separation of the peoples and the territorial kingdom of God restored to the chosen ones of Israel. At your own time, please read Matthew 13, verse 37, and understand the parable and the illustration that Yeshua was explaining. The Messiah also declared that at his return, Yahushua will separate the peoples from one another and restore and give the boot of David, which is the kingdom of God that has fallen into the hands of their enemies, back to Israel. The Messiah also declared that the sower sowed fine seed, that is the Israelites, in his field, that is his kingdom. But an enemy, a man, oversowed it with weeds. He was referencing the things written in the scriptures. At your own time, read 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 5 to 15, and see the beginning of this enemy sowing sowing the weeds among thee in the field of the kingdom. So when will the chosen ones of Israel be saved? Yahushua declared that immediately after the tribulation or the punishment days on all Israel ends, so then the sign of the Son of Man returning to save God's chosen ones will be seen in the heaven. He will send his angels to gather them from the corners of the earth where they were scattered. As 2 Thessalonians chapter 1 verse 6 to 10, so God will then turn his vengeance on all enemies and those who hated and mistreated his chosen people. Daniel chapter 2 verse 44, those of other nations and peoples that survive the vengeance of God will become subject to the kingdom government of God of Israel restored in his holy mountains in Zion in Jerusalem. So, can the earth be saved? Yes. Who will save the earth? Yahushua, the Son of Man, is the one that will save the earth. But first, he has to save his people, the chosen ones of God, Israel, and restore them. Then the survivors of other nations will become subject to the kingdom government of God established in the holy Mount Zion. Again, examine these scriptures at your own time. Take your time, read and meditate on them so you can have understanding. Please subscribe to our videos by clicking on the subscribe button so that we can update you when new videos are posted. Give us thumbs up if you enjoy the contents of this video. And thank you, and until next time. And don't forget that you now have what? Understanding.